So what we have here today is some absolutely amazing Australian Wagyu tri-tip. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna trim it, we're gonna season it, we're gonna baste it, we're gonna cook it, and we're gonna sear it. And it's gonna be delicious, guys. You ready? Let's get to work. Okay, so we have our tri-tip. This is Australian Wagyu. It has a marbling score of 4 to 5. Prime beef would be about a 3. So these guys are good for everyday eating. They're gonna be absolutely fantastic, better than anything you're gonna find local. I had my buddy Nick over at the Meat Artisan send this guy down to me. We're gonna open it up, trim it off. There shouldn't be too much. Sometimes there's a little excess fat here and there. And we're gonna season it up. So I just like to pop one of the sides, open it up, take it out of the package, get any of this extra liquid that into the garbage. I just love the way these things smell right out of the package. These come to you fresh, cut the day before he ships them. Yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of trimming to do, not much. Anything basically you don't want to eat, we're gonna get rid of. Get a little more paper towel, take off some more of this. Just get it as dry as you can. Anything you don't want to eat, so like this big chunk here, just gonna pull and trim off. Try not to take off too much meat if you can avoid it. Yeah, we got a little here. Just pretty it up as much as you want. I mean, if you don't want to trim this off, you don't have to. I just think it's not really gonna render. I don't really want to eat it, so I take it off. Some of it will just more pillowy stuff will just pull right off. And the same thing on this side. Just a little bit. These come pretty well trimmed. Sometimes you got a little bit here and there, and you could save this, render it down into tallow for basting or cooking other things in. I don't know if you guys can see how well this is marbled all through in here. It's gonna be great once you get into it. I'm gonna take off a little more along here. There's a little line coming right through here. A little meat's gonna come with it, but I'm not afraid of that. Let's see if I can get this out right here, carefully cutting. Yeah. See here, we got a little bit of silver skin. Take that off. Just be careful. You can really go as far as you want with this. We can not skip this step all entirely. See, but I like to get all this silver skin off right here. You just kind of shave down the meat. Helps if you bend it up. Get your hand under it so you have something to cut against. So you just shave a little bit at a time. Take your time, no rush. I got a little bit more right here. And I think that's gonna do it. Okay, step 2. You're gonna want to season it. Any piece of meat, I like to season the day before. Any big piece. So I'm gonna go take a little bit of olive oil just to help everything stick. Just rub that in. Some bourbon. This is this is Widow Jane from the New England Barrel Society, a pick we did last year. This is not for the meat. This is for me. Always be drinking. We're gonna go with some salt. A little bit of fresh pepper. My tri-tips, I like garlic. with some garlic powder. Just gonna press it in, flip it over, do the same thing. A little bit of olive oil. A little bit of bourbon. Some salt. Make sure you get this front part as well. You can kind of just lay it into your hand and slap it on there. Some black pepper. If you like the pepper, you can skip it. If you don't like the garlic, you can skip it. But I would highly, highly suggest salting it. And then some garlic for me. So I'm taking a little press. Now what this is going to do in the fridge overnight is the salt is going to draw out some of the moisture from the meat, which sounds bad, but it's going to dissolve the salt and then soak back into the meat, flavoring the meat from the inside out. It's going to be so much better than if you had just cooked it without doing it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, put it on a cookie sheet with a wire rack, and then put it right in the fridge, uncovered, overnight, right like that. I like to do at least 5 hours. It's probably going to go a little longer. Probably go closer to 12 hours, and then throw it on the smoker and cook it nice and low, about 220, 200 degrees until it's about 120 internal. When it hits 120, I'm gonna take it off, crank the heat way up, open the firebox door, and sear it on both sides. Okay, so we left this overnight in the fridge with a little salt, pepper, garlic on it. You can feel some differences in the meat. It's gonna be a little firmer. The salt looks like it's gone because it's all absorbed into the meat, flavoring it from the inside out. Our cooker's settled in at about 230, 240, which is where I want it. I'm gonna put a temperature probe into the meat so I can monitor the temperature. I'm gonna wanna pull it at about, I'm gonna say about 120. It shouldn't take that long. It's a thinner piece. And then from there, we're gonna sear it to a finished nice medium rare. And because we're cooking at a lower temperature, we should get a nice edge to edge pink. So it should be a really nice temperature. I'm gonna just open it up. Gonna put it right in. The nice thing about these guys is they have built-in temperature probe ports over here on the side, so you can just come right through the side. And I'm gonna plug it in to my fireboard so I can always monitor it from inside. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. We're gonna put a little mop sauce together for the meat. I like to start with olive oil. And then I go for 1 part olive oil, about 2 parts of balsamic vinegar. That looks about good. Go with about a half teaspoon of black pepper, same amount of cayenne, or in this case we're going to use chipotle powder. That looks good. Generous amount of garlic, and a nice pinch of kosher salt. Just going to mix that up. And we're gonna get it on the meat. Just gonna let it kind of drizzle over the meat a little bit. I don't really wanna disturb the spices that I already have on there. Just kind of a little dab, I don't wanna brush. Just keep stirring it and put it on. Now we're gonna also get our tongs and flip. So we get these cooking evenly, get some sauce, some mop on both sides. Just little dabs. And with the tri-tip, you don't want to forget this front portion here. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes and we're there. We're at a nice 125. We're gonna pull off the meat. I'm gonna raise the temperature in the cooker. I'm gonna open the firebox door. That's the beautiful thing about this. I pull this handle right here and I have direct access to the firebox. So we're gonna get a really hot fire going, really direct over flame, put the meat back over it and sear the outside. Oh yeah, look at those. They look nice. Just gonna grab our tongs. You anymore. Just gonna move this temperature probe. All right, open this door. And I'm just gonna turn the temperature up. 350. Just let those pellets start dropping in. May manually turn on the auger just to feed it a little bit more. And right before we turn it back on, I'm gonna give it one last base with our balsamic vinegar. It's gonna really help the flavor out here. You get this nice sweetness from the vinegar, and it also helps tenderize the meat a little. I'll do the other side here in a second. All right, we got a nice fire going in there. As you can see, the flame's almost kissing up on top of the grates. So I'm gonna take this first one, put it down right on top of that. Yeah. That's all the oils and some of the vinegar caramelizing on this meat. Okay, so we seared it, we rested it, we're good to go. Let's slice into it and see how we did. All right. I like to just kind of take it a little bit thicker on the first cut, and then the next few will start going nice and thin. Yeah. That looks good. Oh yeah, it's gonna be some good meat right there. I personally prefer the Australian Wagyu to the Japanese Wagyu just because it has more beefy flavor. You can eat more of it and not feel like you're overwhelmed by the richness of it. Yeah. See, look at that. Just tender, full of juice, full of flavor. Let's give it a try, huh? Let's cut it up a little bit. It still has a wonderful richness to it. And you get a little bit of everything. You get some of that vinegar that gives it just a little kick. Tiny little bit of heat from the pepper. Not very much, but just where I like it. And you just have it's cooked. Because we cooked it low and slow, you have a nice rare center and not too much of the overcooked outside that you get over super high heat. But I mean, this is one of my favorites. It goes super quick, you know. This is always one of the first things people eat. It's not an all-day commitment like some of like a brisket or pork, or like a pork butt, but it's fantastic to eat. So what do? All right, we seasoned it overnight, salted it, let that salt absorb in, season the meat. Then we took it out, we tempered it, cooked it at about 200 degrees, 230, till it got to about 120 internal. We pulled it out, kicked up the heat, opened up the fire grate, and just let it sit over the fire on each side for like a minute or two, just to get some nice caramelization on the meat. Then you just let it rest, slice it up and eat it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy. Any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to get back to you. All right, thanks, bye.